Hey, how's everybody doing? Look, it's me and Dr. B. I got my partner with me tonight, man. Hey, Dr. B, man, you can't, okay. He's rather playful and biteful. It's good to see everybody. I want to talk about what's going on. I know it's kind of crazy. I'll be honest with you. If you have not accepted the reality yet that we are dealing with Luciferians, you're going to have problems. You're going to have problems because it's really not natural to deal with this level of evil that we're dealing with. The normal human being does not run into people who have absolutely no conscience. So we're not prepared to deal with the type of individuals that we are dealing with right now. But these people have absolutely no conscience whatsoever. In fact, they have a process for deleting conscience in their family members. That's part of what these rituals do, and these torture rituals that they do to their children. You might have heard of the DuPonts. The DuPonts are a very rich family that were feeding their children feces for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. They were feeding them shit. And they had now you know the DuPonts, right? These people are not struggling with finances. He was also raping his babies who were infants and putting his penis in his infant. He had them living in the basement of a mansion in cages. And the bodyguard for the boy stated that the boy has absolutely no conscience. He said that the boy looked at him smiling while he reached in his pocket, pulled out a knife and stabbed him and watched him bleed, smiling. Listen, they make you think that these are some type of unique anomalies that take place. No, this is part of a system, man. This is part of a system. And they are all a part of it. You must understand that it's all of them. It's all of them. These people have to develop a social engineering stage that is so elaborate that your mind can't wrap your mind around it. But if you saw the movie The Truman Show, that's it. That's it. It's got to be The Truman Show, because when Charlie Kirk got shot, there were so many different misdirection, which is a strategy of the CIA and social engineering misdirection. There's so many people involved with that shit, hopping around like jackrabbits, but magically enough, only a bunch of us saw it. Trump didn't see it, CIA didn't see it, Fox News didn't see it, CBS didn't see it. Nobody saw it, but a couple of Americans that filmed it. And everybody, now, if you believe that shit, you have to be crazy. Of course they saw it. The only reasonable explanation is they are ignoring it. And that would mean that everything we're looking at is absolute bullshit. And that's why I posted that tonight about going to the moon, because I've known that for a while. That can't be true that we're going to the moon. It cannot be true. If you've read about Kubrick, the guy confessed that it was all bullshit, that they never went to the moon. And my wife was Russian, and we were listening to Putin and Putin advisors, and they were with him laughing, and they were telling him that the United States totally faked the moon landing and Americans don't know it. And my wife translated it for me. Even Russia knows that we're full of shit. Look, I don't know exactly what's going on in that arena, but I can tell you this. What they're telling us is bullshit. I know that. Everything in the news, everything that you're seeing is bullshit. Because in all my research, everything I found was socially engineered. The civil rights movement was socially engineered. The Bolshevik War was socially engineered by the royal family. Tavistock, they met with the psychotic person, Vladimir Lenin, in 1917, and they financed the shit. They met with Karl Marx in 1847 in the London Conference with then Tavistock. It wasn't Tavistock then, it was called the Great Writers of Chatham House. H.G. Wells was one of them. War of the Worlds, faked everybody that was a test run to see if they could fool people. It worked out perfectly for them. So these people have been doing this shit for a long time, and there's a continuous pattern in this, that everything you see has been... Look, if you don't believe, I understand black people have an emotional and psychological attachment to the civil rights movement. That's why they social engineer it. They perfectly chose Rosa Parks and waited for her ass because she was the perfect grandmother look that black people would accept. And it took me a while in my research to find her, because most of these people were recruited out of these fake ass HBSUs, which I showed you in one of my lectures, was socially engineered. It was socially engineered. All these HBSUs were socially engineered and designed to replicate and infect black people with the Communist Manifesto on a continuous basis. The schools are fake. They're low budget. They are part of this elaborate scheme to fool our perceptions that black people are doing fine, and we are not. All of the promotions that you see going on at those HBSUs are only to their own, the boule. I saw, and I was going to post it, these people are morons. These people actually had an award that they gave to one of their own HBUs, naming it as the best HBU. So here these people are comparing their low budget academic standards with themselves and saying that they're number one. It's all bullshit. Look at everything that comes out of those HBSUs. It's gutter trash. Camilla Harris comes out of those HBSUs, and the woman is a moron. What's that other one? Ghetto Crockett comes out of one of them. She comes out of, I forget which one, law school. It's an HBSU, and she's a moron. But those HBSUs only produce morons because that's what it was designed to do. Go back to my lecture I showed you. The guy who started those HBSUs' name was Stanley H. Clark. They want to tell you he was the first guy who received a psychology degree at Harvard, which cannot be true because all of them had psychology degrees, and all of them were messed up in shit. Kurt Van Loren came from Berlin. He was the chief architect of social engineering, and he was a Zionist Jew. Luciferian Jew. Don't understand it, but all these Luciferians keep popping up because Karl Marx was a Luciferian, Vladimir Lenin was a Luciferian, Tavistock's a Luciferians. People, all of these people are Luciferians. They're all Luciferians. All of Hollywood, all of Hollywood. Denzel Washington is getting in his ass and sucking dick, all of them. What they love to do is they love to give you a Keanu Reeves type nigga who looks like he's kind and he's giving to everybody, and he's to distort your perceptions, to make you think that there's some redeeming qualities in how they're not. They're all eating babies. They're all drinking blood. But if they're there, that's what they're doing. They cannot get there unless they're doing it. I don't care how much they talk about God. I don't care about what. They are Luciferians, man. They lie for a living. Do you know, I went through the Teen Challenge program. I posted that up and showed you. I went through the Teen Challenge program. I was a young, dumb black kid, didn't know shit. But I did have discernment because I actually had authentically given my life to Christ. And I could hear from God at 17 because I had fully surrendered. And these dudes were pulling social. And what happened is Ronald Reagan, Teen Challenge said they had an 86% cure rate. The federal government challenged them and paid and financed the study to prove it. Came out that they were right with just the Bible and prayer, because that's all I did at Teen Challenge was pray every day. When I was at Teen Challenge on the farm, I got up at 4 o'clock every morning and prayed for 2 hours and read the Bible. And here I am. Here I am. Doctor. Avoided all the shit that my friends couldn't avoid. And what happened was Ronald Reagan stepped in, and Ronald Reagan is a Luciferian. He was at Bohemian Grove. If you go back to, I showed you the newspaper clipping where he had boys, pedophiles, had boys paying for sex with boys in the White House, paying with their credit cards, for God's sakes, and during the Reagan administration. And listen, if you ever heard of the Franklin cover-up, go read that shit. They identified Bush and all of them that was raping them, and they covered the whole shit up and murdered everybody so that they couldn't testify. One of the congressmen, they called him and told him he better shut that shit down or they're gonna kill everybody, him too. So listen, these people are everywhere. They're everywhere and they're doing this shit. So let me digress. All right, I hope you understand by now that we're dealing with Luciferians. You're dealing with people who cannot be bargained with. These people have made vows, blood vows, that cannot be broken on any level. I showed you a couple of videos. One video that showed a young lady who tried to break the vow and didn't end up too well. Listen to me, these people are not playing around. So let me go back in time and show you how the black community, how these Luciferians had to get us. They had to get us. In 1865, when we ended slavery, listen, black people, you got to understand, all your history is falsified. In my research, I found out that everything I believed, everything was false. It was one of the most disillusioning experiences I've ever had. It took me about 3 weeks to get through it, to mentally and emotionally get through the fact that everything that I believe and base all my beliefs on was completely false and given to me by absolute monsters. So in 1865, when we ended slavery, we were almost 100% illiterate, almost, because I read the laws on and research for my book, Black History. I did some deep dives into black history, and black people full of shit about history. We don't know jack shit about it, and it ain't our fault. The people that sold us out, one of the people they sold us out with was Dale Carnegie. And Dale Carnegie owns history, owns it. He owns the Smithsonian, and there's everything, all the information that comes into these schools and everything comes through the Smithsonian. So they control all the information. And if you'll notice this, see, if you'll just use common sense, good judgment, wisdom, and critical thinking skills, one of the things that they stole from us, you can see that these people are lying to us. Why in the world are they only teaching black slavery in school and no other slavery, when all other races were in slavery longer? Jews were in slavery for 400 years. The Mexicans were in slavery for 500 years. The Italians were in slavery for 400 years. The Jews were in slavery for 400 years. The Irish were in slavery for 57 years. Black people were in slavery for 46 years. We were only in slavery for 46 years. I know, I did all the research for it. Blew my mind too. The reason why we believe that we were in slavery, and you hear black people always saying that we were in slavery for 400 years and 200 years, was because these sellout niggas, when they sold us out to Dale Carnegie, the Rothschilds, and the Rockefellers, these people had all control over history. And they doctored history and took other cultures of black history that were in slavery and attached it to American black history slavery and extended it so that they could keep black people angry longer. And you'd have to have no common sense, good judgment, wisdom, or critical thinking skills not to realize that if these people are doctoring history to keep it hidden, to keep you angry, they have an agenda. And it ain't because of racism and oppression. If these people are trying to have an agenda to keep you angry at white people, as a behavioral and social scientist who projects and predicts behavior, I can definitively tell you they're hiding something. They're keeping you angry at white people to hide something from you, and I know exactly what it is. So here's what happened. In 1865, when the slavery ended, we couldn't read. We were illiterate. By 1917, we had almost completely 100% wiped out slavery. And listen, my research shows that we created a style of English that was so unique and beautiful that it scared the shit out of the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, and Dale Carnegie. Now understand this. I'm a person of common sense, good judgment, wisdom, and critical thinking skills. You do not have to have all the facts and all the documents to know what happened. You can use your critical thinking skills and figure that shit out, because it's usually a matter of common sense, as my good mother said. These people let us suffer all that time, and then after we had created the greatest school system in the world, they then offered us the first black college, the Tuskegee Institute. And how that happened was 3 sellout niggas sold us out. Like always, they went to the weak chains. They went to the least spiritual of the group because we were Christians. We were Christians because if you'll read the Bible in the book of Acts, Paul the apostle led an African eunuch to Christ. Baptized the guy, right? Got out the carriage and baptized him right there, and he's full of the Holy Ghost. He ended up being a chief servant of the king of Africa, and he ended up leading that king to Christ. And then after that, everybody in Africa got saved. And Africa ended up creating the same Bible, the Ethiopian Bible. It's on my desk right now. I walk right there and grab it right now. It's on my desk right now. And it was made in Africa because they had a educational institution that was out of this freaking world. And so they put it together. They put this Bible together they did all this, and they brought, as slavery, we came out of slavery well because we didn't get better. My mother actually told me this before she died. She said, son, we suffer well. And what she meant was black people had an ability to suffer without getting bitter. You see, we don't do that much now. Now we bitter as hell and suffering like hell too. So we didn't get bitter. We worked together. We ended up creating the greatest educational institution in the world. And my research showed that no civilization has ever competed with what black people did after they got out of slavery. They ended up getting help from now people say to me, I get black people say to me all the time, well, Dr. T, how can you say that they did? They went in, they in 1865 after slavery with just the Bible, black people worked together and created the greatest educational system in the world and wiped out illiteracy. Created a unique style of English that nobody had ever heard before. And then they went into this school, and after graduating from this school, they sterilized and butchered their own black people, smiling in their faces, telling them that they're giving them free health care while they were cutting out of them their entire lineages. Now you explain to me how that happened. I am a social and behavioral scientist. I hold a doctorate in social and behavioral science, and I have 30 years in the mental health field. I have studied social engineering for decades, the rare science of social engineering that hardly anybody knows shit about. And I am telling you, the only thing that could have done that is social engineering. And what happened is they social engineered with a certain narrative. They social engineered them to hate their own people because they social engineered them to see their own people like coons. that they weren't really black. So that sellout nigga that you saw that did the Super Bowl, that sings that song, that black people love to dance to so much because they love laughing at us. They love sitting there laughing at us because they all know this shit. That they're all up there because of this blood contract because these three niggas sold us out. When he sang that song, They're Not Like Us, do you know what he's talking about? He's talking about us. The people who are not part of that three lineage, that bloodline that sold us out, which tells me he knows. I know they all know. That's why they're all sucking dick and doing all those rituals. P. Diddy has no talent. The nigga steals other black people's music, is screwing other black people in the ass, putting bottles in girls' vaginas, can't read music, but he's a music mogul. The man is part of the Boule. He's part of this bloodline. He is either a descendant of W.E.B. Du Bois, Carter Woodson, or Booker T. Washington. And that's why he's there. Because those three niggas sold us out. When they sold us out, part of that, the representation of that was Tuskegee. Because these Luciferians that they sold us out to, the Rothschilds, the Del Gongi, and the Rockefellers, who you can clearly see sitting in the front. And you don't see nobody smiling. Show me anybody smiling in there. Show me one person not. Do you know the statistical probability of having not one person smile, and that wasn't a unified protest of what was being done to them? They came out of that school, experimented on their own black men, watched them die with syphilis when they knew they had the cure, because they had brainwashed them with the perception that these blacks weren't really black, they were coons. And that's why they could come out of that school and butcher their own people. Here's the problem. When they infected those black people with that social engineering idea, with that of infection of the mind, that infection is progressive and continuous, meaning it's not something that just happens once. It degrades over time. Black people, because of that infection, are degrading over time. And you may be seeing that right now, that black people are becoming angrier, more dissatisfied, more hatred of white people, more less able to collaborate. You can see it. More violent, more emotional. This is because black people were infected with this virus, with this mind virus, that each year degrades us. What happened was, when these three sellout niggas sold us out, they sold us out for the benefit and the lineage of their three lineages. But we're allowed to sink into the abyss. So you see these people prospering. You only see one population of the black population prospering. And the rest of us you see continuously declining, on a continuous decline every day. Come on, be honest. You have to see it. The only ones you see making it is this small population of niggas. And they're all from that bloodline. The rest of us are declining year by year. We're declining intellectually. We're declining in every area. Black people, I'm not lying to you. Social engineering did that. When they did that to us and infected that with us, that's what they did to us, and we are on a continuous decline. That's why we continuously decline in every year. They did this to us in the civil rights movement when they infected us with the Communist Manifesto, which is the doctrine of death. It was created by Luciferians. Karl Marx was a devout Luciferian who collaborated with other Luciferians to create it. Karl Marx stated in his poems, and you can go and read them, stated that he loved Satan so much that he would eat the shit out of his daughter's asshole, chew it up, put it back in her ass, take it out of his mouth and chew it again because he loved Satan so much. This is the doctrine that they used to infect black people with in the civil rights movement. And it was a violent organization. They were hurting children, breaking arms, putting people's eyes out, burning down shit. Dr. Martin Luther King was a faggot-ass homosexual having sex with men. Listen, this is what was going on. They had an FBI informants in it. Here's what I want to tell you. The end game is these people believe that there's something in black people genetically that they can use for immortality. And that's what these people want. They want immortality because they're all Luciferians and they all know hell is real. Listen, in my research, the one thing I could see is these people believe the Bible. It was the craziest shit I've ever seen, because you're always thinking that these people are saying, well, we don't believe. They totally believe in God. They totally believe in heaven. They totally believe in hell. They believe in all of it. They just are on another side. That's all it is. But they believe it. All of their constructs are based on Bible principles. The constructs that they use to take hold of people's minds, they got those principles from the Bible. I did a video where I showed you where they got them from 2 Corinthians 10:9. Strongholds and fortresses, which are mental ideas, thoughts, ideas, belief systems, value systems that are so absolutely powerful and demonic that they can apprehend your mind without you knowing it and take you over, and you'll live it and you won't even realize that you're living out thoughts and ideas that are not even your own. That was transgenderism. That's what they did. They put ideas in people's minds, and these people lived it out and chopped their dicks and their breasts off. Listen to me. They can do this shit. They have been doing this shit. Their end game is transhumanism. And wouldn't you know that these people have gotten so good at social engineering? They created the construct of transgenderism to get people under the delusion that they were in the wrong body, so that they would volunteer and donate their body parts that they need to create the science of transhumanism. You've seen it. You've seen it. You've seen Katy Perry glitching. You've seen them all glitching out. They're already doing it, but it's not perfected. They are trying to find the perfect bodies that they can transfer their consciousness in, so they can live forever and avoid hell. They believe that they have God in a conundrum. The verse in the Bible from Hebrews 9:27 says, it is only cause men to die once and then the judgment. That God only requires us to experience death once and then the judgment. These morons are destroying us in the world because they believe that if they can live forever, they can avoid hell by not dying. These people are morons. It's all deception. They wanted you to believe that they're brilliant and they're geniuses. They're not. They're just evil. They're just evil, and they're willing to do anything. And they're so evil that they got the attention of these Luciferians and these fallen angels and demons, and they gave them secrets. And those secrets, I hated to find it out, but psychology started with these demonic forces. They actually gave them the secrets to it, and they're using it to take over the entire world. That's the danger to the world now, social engineering, because these people are creating enemies of the United States within the United States through social engineering. They got these people everywhere. Look, they're everywhere. They're in our government now. That's what they meant in the replication process in the Matrix. They've been replicating enemies of the United States in the United States, and they've been doing this forever. And I'll be honest with you, man, I think they're close to their end game, man. I think that everything we're seeing is bullshit. I think Trump was part of this shit and he was bullshit. I think Making America Great Again was a socially engineered project because they gave us what we wanted. They knew we wanted to believe that we had an America to save. They knew we wanted to believe that a great white hope would come to save us, just like they knew that black people wanted to believe that a great white black hope was coming to save them. and they socially engineered Dr. Martin Luther King, who was a deviant sexual pervert who was murdering people and ordering hits. Because these people watch you. They listen to you. They listen to what you want. They listen to what you think. They listen to what you want to believe. And then they give it to you in a construct, and then it kills you. My name is Dr. Terrence Alexander Rizal. Thanks for being here tonight. Have a good evening.